is going to be a review of conversions, because there are two different ways you can do conversions and you don't want to mix up the two methods. You can multiply by the conversion factor, get your units to cancel out by having one in the numerator and one in the denominator, or you can use equivalent fractions because it's just an equivalent rate. So you could put an equal sign, and then you need your numerator to be equivalent to your numerator and your denominator to be equivalent to your denominator, because that's what the equal sign means. So this question right here was on your quarterly exam yesterday. So let's look at this. We're going to use this one. No, this one right here, number 2. It says, how many days are in 6 weeks? So we want to convert. We want to convert 6 weeks. That question is not statistical, by the way, because there's only one answer. But we want to convert 6 weeks into days. You always want to know where you're starting and where you're going. So we're going to use method 1 right here. So method 1 is going to be your, let's do conversion factor method. So we have to know the conversion factor to go between days and weeks. So we should know that for every 7 days, there is 1 week. Or you could say for every 1 week, there are 7 days. So I'm going to start off with what I want to change. So I want to change 6 weeks. So I'm going to start with 6 weeks. And I'm going to put that over 1 because my conversion factor is a fraction. And I'm going to multiply. Now, when you have multiplication, you want your units to cancel out. So I'm going to multiply by my conversion factor. And I'm going to use this as my conversion factor. So if this is my conversion factor, I'm going to say this is A. Or you could use 1 week over 7 days. Only one is going to get you the correct answer. How do you know which one to use? Which one do you think we should use? Option A or option B? Well, if weeks is already in the numerator and you want weeks to cancel out, you need to put weeks in the denominator. So I need to use option A. So I'm going to put 1 week down here. Since I have weeks in the numerator and weeks in the denominator, it's going to cancel out, and because its value equals 1. Anything divided by itself equals 1. And the other part of the rate, so if I use this part of the rate for my denominator, I need to use the other part of the rate for my numerator. So I'm going to put 7 days here. Notice the 7 stayed with the days and the 1 stayed with the weeks. Now I'm just going to multiply across so you can really see what's going on, what's happening to my units. And this is the same thing I did in class when I taught the lesson. So if we have to multiply our numbers, so we multiply 6 times 7. 6 times 7 is 42. Right? And then I have weeks as a factor because it's multiplication in the middle. Weeks times days. So I'm just going to put 42 times weeks times days. And then that's my numerator, because when you multiply fractions, you multiply your numerators across. And then you multiply your denominators across, and then you can divide. Okay, so now we have 1 times 1 for our numbers, and that's going to give us 1. And then we have week as a factor. So I'm going to multiply that by week. Now look at this. We have weeks in the numerator and weeks in the denominator. That cancels out because its value equals 1. Just like right here, I have 8 in the numerator and 8 in the denominator. It canceled out because its value equals 1. So instead of multiplying across and bringing weeks over in the numerator and bringing weeks over in the denominator, you can just cancel it out right here. Because I have 1 in the numerator and 1 in the denominator, I know it's going to cancel out. And then you'll be left with just 6 times 7 days. And 6 times 7 is 42 days. And then for our denominator, we have 1 times 1, weeks canceled out, so that's 1. And 42 days divided by 1 is just 42 days. Now, you don't need to put divided by 1. We know a number divided by 1 is itself, so you don't even need to do this step and then go to the end. All right, so that's method 1. It looks like a lot of work, and that's just because I did this step right here. All of this right here is unnecessary and just for teaching purposes, so you can understand what's going on. You can cancel out your units and then write 42 days, because your numerator 6 times 7 days is 42 days, and your denominator is just 1, and 42 days divided by 1 is just 42 days. So all of that was just for learning purposes.